Welcome back to the Spotlight series of interviews. Today I have a little bit of an unusual guest, a man by the name of Geordie McManus, who has been riding his motorcycle from Jacksonville, Florida to Mexico. And I thought it would be time to catch up with him and see how the trip is going and what's happening, what he's thinking, what he's doing, what his future plans are. So Geordie, welcome to the show. Wow, thank you, Geordie, for having me on the show. What an incredible honor this is to be here with you today. You've been in Mexico for over 2 months now. How is your trip going? It's going great. It's exceeding my expectations in almost every single way. I love Mexico. I love the Mexican people. I love the food. I love the landscape. I love, really everything about it. It's such a welcoming group of people to encounter and to get to experience their country. I'm loving learning Spanish and working on my Spanish too. Okay, so here is the more complicated, lengthy answer. As they say in Spanish, en verdad, truthfully speaking, I've been struggling for a few days, maybe even a week now, because I feel like I've kind of lost a little bit of clarity of purpose and meaning, and I've kind of strayed from the integrity of my initial vision for this trip. So my initial vision was to work on my photography. That's what I want to do, is improve my photography skills and try to move into that as a job and career field, is do photography. It's my passion. I love taking pictures. I love editing my photos. I love everything about photography. So I want to really dive deep into that and be able to do it. And so when I left Jacksonville on my motorcycle, if you have watched my videos, you might remember I had a big, huge top case on the back of my motorcycle, a Pelican case. And I had it loaded with not nearly everything I had hoped to bring, wanted to bring, but loaded with my nice camera, my Canon R5, and a couple lenses, and just other, camera gear. So I had a nice setup and a few vintage lenses that I really wanted to explore and get to use as well. I started a small collection of vintage camera lenses, which are super fun to use. And so I left with all of that stuff, all of that gear in the Pelican case, and during the trip from Jacksonville to San Antonio, Texas, it became immediately clear to me and apparent that carrying that much gear just wasn't going to be possible. It was a ton of weight on the bike. It was, it caught a lot of air resistance and really moved the bike around the road a lot, and it's really valuable. So I knew I would just be concerned about it all the time, about having it get stolen or something happening to it. So I quickly realized that just wasn't going to be tenable. And when I got to Texas, I shipped it back home to Florida. And I figured, okay, the adventure rolls on. I have my other camera, my Fuji X100V, which is a great kind of street photography camera. It takes great pictures. I'm really enjoying using it. And I would just focus on making my videos, focus on, improving my editing skills. I use DaVinci Resolve as my computer editing software, and so I think I've gotten a lot better at that. I've certainly gotten faster at it. So I figured, okay, the adventure rolls on. I want to try to explore YouTube, grow my channel. I have the Fuji camera to take pictures with. I'll just focus on those aspects. And man, over the last few days or week, it's just become apparent to me that I really miss my camera. I mean, that's what I want to do. That's how I want to spend my days, really, is in addition to making videos and trying to shed light on all of the amazing places to visit in Mexico and the amazing people and the amazing food and culture and everything. I want to really be able to explore photography and take pictures and walk around places all day long and take pictures and try to build my portfolio and improve my photography. So I feel like I've really kind of betrayed my initial vision a bit, and it's disappointing me because that was my initial vision, and I'm not able to do that. And so I'm kind of just feeling a little bit lost, honestly. Like I've lost the initial purpose and vision for my trip. So that's a disappointment. I'm also at a crossroads with the motorcycle. On a perfect day, I love riding the motorcycle. And if you've been watching my channel, you know that I had pretty much never ridden a motorcycle before. I mean, I literally just bought it at the end of last year, got went to a motorcycle safety training class, got my motorcycle endorsement. And, in the motorcycle safety training class, you don't get out of second gear on like a 150cc bike. And then all of a sudden you have a license and I get a 650cc motorcycle and I'm riding down the road, excuse me, on a huge bike. And so, just a lot of the inherent difficulties in motorcycle travel have really come to light in the past weeks. And, it's a real challenge. It's a greater challenge than I expected. And what I'm realizing, honestly, is that there are aspects that I absolutely love about it. And then there are aspects of it that are just really restricting my ability to be able to do what I think I really want to do. I love the adventure aspect of the motorcycle and being able to, just feel the environment all around you. It's really experiential, but it presents a lot of limitations and restrictions at the same time. So I've kind of realized I was leaving Sayulita. If you watched my last video, you know that I was heading for Tequila, and I was literally on the road, and I realized I don't know if I want to continue heading south right now because I'm just not feeling this. It's not what I'm feeling. I'm missing my camera. I feel like I'm lacking my purpose and my vision, and I feel like I'm kind of falling out of love with the motorcycle, or at least not necessarily falling out of love with the motorcycle, but at least really becoming acutely aware of all of the limitations and restrictions that it imposes upon me. And so if I'm going to continue to travel for months and months, I don't know that that's what my initial vision was, or if that really just makes me happy. I mean, I'm totally game for a challenge and working hard and overcoming difficulties and sticking to it and going for it. But at the same time, I want to be happy and comfortable. It doesn't make sense for me to make myself unhappy and uncomfortable for months and months and months on end and feel like I'm not achieving what I want to achieve. So that's the lengthy answer to the question of how's the trip going. So I find myself at a bit of a crossroads. I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing. I've returned to Mazatlan because I figured I think I might. What I'm considering doing is selling the motorcycle and getting like a 4-wheel drive car or truck and continuing on with that. I think I could probably make better videos. I could have my camera gear. And so it's a major change of course, and that's what I'm thinking about. I don't have all the answers right now. All of these thoughts are kind of in their infancy, but I have to, I think, follow my heart and my mind, and that's just what it was telling me. I did not feel like heading to Tequila, Jalisco was the right course for me. I was on the road to do it, and I just wasn't feeling it. My heart was telling me no. And so I'm back in Mazatlan, heading north. My plan was to see if I could maybe ship the motorcycle home, but I think that could be difficult. So I'm honestly not that far from the U.S. now. I mean, I'm not close. It's probably 4 or 5 days of a ride. So I have friends in Parral, Chihuahua. So I think I'm going to head back there. That's another 2 or 3 days ride, and then kind of decompress a little bit more in Parral, Chihuahua, and just reassess, see what my mind and heart is telling me in Parral, Chihuahua. So that's the lengthy answer. I'm at a crossroads. I'm figuring out what I want to do, trying to be true to my initial vision and what I ultimately want out of this trip. And so heading back to Parral, Chihuahua to further assess that and think more on it. And how do you like Mexico? Man, I love Mexico. I just, honestly, I love Mexico. You know, if you've been watching my videos, I've talked a little bit about, is it the ride or is it the people that I like more? You know, like the excitement of traveling to a new place and the ride and getting to see amazing landscapes and mountain views and all sorts of new things that are different from where I live? Or is it getting to a place and meeting people and the human connections? And for me, my experience for me has 100% been the human connection. I mean, don't get me wrong, the thrill of travel is intoxicating and it's exhilarating, and you get to a new place, and I love to get to a new place and just walk all day long, take some pictures, explore a new town or city or wherever it may be. But then the little moments that I think I enjoy most in the day is when you stop for lunch, or when you get back to the hotel and you talk to a restaurant owner, or maybe you just meet someone on the street, or you talk to a server in a restaurant and you say, hey, can you tell me a little bit about your city, your town? What's your favorite place to see? And, you know, as an American and being able to speak some degree of Spanish, the Mexicans that I've encountered, they're, you know, when they see that you can speak their language a little bit, their faces just kind of light up, and they're so welcoming and kind and happy to talk to you, happy to tell you about what they think, what the, you know, places to go in their town or their city. And so Mexico is just fantastic. It really is. Gosh, I love Mexico. And so for me, gosh, I mean, the towns are incredibly beautiful. I'm in Mazatlan right now, and it's a city that's, I think the buildings are over 400 years old, so the architecture is amazing. The edifices, the buildings are just incredible. The colors, there's tropical flowering trees all over the place. There's great restaurants. I'm not typically eating in great restaurants because I'm more on a budget, but they're called puestos, you know, street food to less expensive restaurants. The water is beautiful here. It's really, gosh, a beautiful place here in Mazatlan, Sinaloa. So I love Mexico. I truly, truly love Mexico. As you say in Spanish, me encanta Mexico. To your point on the inherent difficulties in motorcycle travel, can you elaborate on that a little bit and tell us a little bit more about your experience in motorcycle traveling? For me, as I said, the biggest challenge is that I really want to have my good camera with me and be able to take pictures. You know, I have a collection, as I said, of some vintage camera lenses. I also have, you know, I really miss, like, my favorite lens is probably the 70 to 200 millimeter lens. Gosh, it just takes amazing pictures. Then I also have a 100 to 500 millimeter lens where, you know, I was in Sayulita and I was like, man, if I had that lens, I could be taking great pictures of like surfers out in the ocean. I could get into the jungle a little bit. I really want to do wildlife photography. I have some macro lenses. I could be taking amazing pictures of like flowers and stuff like that. There's so many things I love about photography, and so I'm missing all of that gear. So the number one inherent challenge in motorcycle travel for me right now is that I don't have everything. I'm not able to carry everything I want with me. But there's myriad challenges. I mean, even if I was, then it's not nearly as safe or as secure as a car, and so you're constantly worried about your possessions being stolen or something happening to them. Another one that, I mean, I've been extremely fortunate in Mexico thus far. It rained briefly for like 5 minutes on 2 separate occasions in Sayulita. Otherwise, I have not seen a drop of rain. So the weather has been absolutely stellar for me. However, that's not always going to be the case, and so motorcycle travel is incredibly weather dependent. I mean, as an amateur motorcycle rider, I'm certainly not interested in trying to navigate thunderstorms or rain, and, you know, like it's crazy dangerous. So I definitely would prefer to stay alive. And so, you know, it's extremely weather dependent. Even, man, I was riding here and the wind was really whipping, and I've gotten a lot more accustomed to that and better at handling the wind, but that can be pretty frightening as well, especially if you're going around a turn and the wind is pushing you in that way. If you're not in the center of the road, man, you're almost being pushed right off the road, especially like on a 650 bike that catches a lot of wind. It moves you around a lot, and so that can freak you out. Gosh, you know, as an amateur rider, on a perfect day, cruising along a nice road, when the weather's nice, it's magical, it's exhilarating, it's incredible, I love it, totally love it. However, as an amateur beginner rider, what has come to light for me in recent experiences is that, you know, you pull into a new town, city. This has been more common in like the mountains, in a smaller little village in the mountains, and you have no idea what you're going to get. Like if you saw my San Sebastián del Oeste video, or even Sayulita, the hotel at the top of the hill, that's extremely challenging for me to pull off some of these maneuvers and not like crash. I mean, my bike with my luggage on it probably weighs 500 to 600 pounds, and so you lose your balance trying to make a sort of technical little turn on a really steep hill into a driveway, or there's just myriad like obstacles, potholes, challenges in getting into certain hotels and stuff like that. And man, it's if I'm being honest, it's frightening and difficult. I think I could get better at it and handle it, so I'm not totally shying away from that challenge, but I find myself just not really liking it. I mean, I don't think I love motorcycle travel enough that those kind of really difficult challenges that I love trying to overcome them and improve upon them. They more freak me out than I enjoy them. And on top of that, here's another challenge. With all of the gear that I wear, helmet, jacket, pants, knee protectors, like chest armor, boots that are Gore-Tex, gloves, it's basically literally like wearing your ski gear, if you've ever gone skiing in full ski gear, like out into a summer day for the entire day. So in the middle of the day, I'm sweating bullets, melting hot, extremely uncomfortable. And, like if it was a week's vacation or something, if you're a motorcycle rider and you're going on a week's vacation, maybe even a month adventure trip, okay, you can kind of suck it up and deal with it. You leave early in the morning, you try to get to where you're going by noon, get your gear off and deal with it. But for months and months and months and months, and it's not even melting hot here yet. It's like 70s and 80s. 80s, Sayulita was probably 80 to 90. But to deal with that on a daily basis, where you're just sweating bullets all day long and melting hot, you stop for lunch and you have all your gear on and you're melting hot trying to like eat something. It's really uncomfortable and challenging to do day in, day out, day in, day out, day in, day out for months and months and months on end. And like I said, I'm not even in hot places. I mean, what's it going to be like in Central America in the jungle or something where it's humid? It's not even humid out right now. It's just, I honestly don't think I can do it. I don't think I can do it. So that's a challenge. I have a couple notes. Let me see what else I had written down about motorcycle travel, because if you're a rider, these are things that you might want to really think about. It's kind of a window into motorcycle riding. Yeah, safety. I mean, as I said, I want to stay alive. Safety, I went down once on the motorcycle, not badly, in Florida on my second day, but most people say, if you own a motorcycle, you're going to go down on it. And well, a lot of people live through those experiences and come out mostly unscathed, but a lot of people have really bad accidents. And riding a motorcycle is a lot different than the United States. I mean, interstate highways are riddled with potholes. There could be suddenly like a cow in the road or a chicken or a dog. I mean, any kind of debris. It's for a beginner rider, again, it is no joke riding a motorcycle through Mexico. You have to be on high alert status all of the time. And then there's another thing. It's so I was thinking in my head that that gets mentally draining and a bit exhausting to be so totally focused. And so, but on top of that, if to cover 200 miles or 250 miles, that's not that far. That takes me all day long, 6 to 8 hours. So imagine riding a motorcycle like every day for 6 to 8 hours. I mean, you get off, your entire body is vibrating. You're completely physically and mentally exhausted completely. So it's extremely demanding in that regard. And you're so hot, you're depleted. You've been sweating all day long. So it's extremely, extremely demanding in that regard. Yeah, I mean, I guess your car could easily get stolen, or a window could get broken and gear could get stolen out of your car, but a motorcycle just seems to me to be a lot more vulnerable. Anything could happen to it, like even my rear view mirrors are just like kind of screw on, so I'm kind of constantly worried that someone's going to steal my mirrors, and that's going to be a bummer because you really kind of need your mirrors to be able to see behind you and changing lanes and stuff. So that's important. I've had a number of little mishaps already of getting robbed. So, or, even coming into a new city, you've got to go and check into a hotel. Every time I do that, I have to just leave everything I own sitting out on the street on my motorcycle. So, that's a constant source of anxiety for me. Oh, and then yeah, back to my point about not being a beginner rider. It's restrictive on me also because I'm finding like in Sayulita, I'm just not that confident in my riding, and there were days where I could have jumped on the bike or a car if I had a car and gone exploring to all sorts of other different little beaches or little towns around Sayulita, and I didn't really have the confidence to jump on the motorcycle, and it's so difficult. You're not able to bring that much gear. You got to put all of your gear on. You're going to be melting hot, so it's really I'm finding it very restrictive for me in terms of being able to explore and get to see and do more things that I want to do. And so it's really kind of restricting my ability to move about as much as I would like. I think that covers about all of it. Yeah. This is just a sort of minor point and random, but man, a lot of cars and trucks here are older, and I don't think they have like the same emissions qualities that we do in America. So riding a motorcycle, it's both a pro and a con. You get to smell the salt air and be in the environment, and it's very experiential. But you can literally on these mountain roads get behind trucks where the fumes that they emit are just disgusting. I mean, it's extremely challenging to take. So that's been a little bit of a challenge, is like all of these fumes that you're breathing. So would you say you're disappointed in this revelation or this impasse? No, I don't feel disappointed in this change of direction or this impasse. As I said, I think you got to constantly evaluate yourself and determine if you're on the path that you initially envisioned, or maybe your path has changed, but just constantly sort of self-evaluate and determine if what you're doing is what is the most important to you, and if you're leading yourself to the place that you want to be and the things that you want to achieve. And so I'm not disappointed, maybe slightly, but I'm optimistic. I mean, I'll make changes, I'll reevaluate, I will end up in the end feeling better about what I'm working on and accomplishing and how I'm spending my days and what I'm putting my energy into. So yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed that, I don't feel like I'm pouring my energy into everything that I specifically want to be doing right now. So, but I'm excited. In the coming days, months, whatever, I will be putting my energy into what I do want to do. So excited, all good there. Have you made many friends or had any relationships in Mexico? Talk about the people you've met a little bit. I've made so many friendships. I mean, you've seen my videos, you've seen my interviews. Gosh, I mean, Hugo, Michelle, Hannah, Gabby. It's sort of silly to name names, but yeah, incredible friendships. Even just the casual encounters or acquaintances that I make. Like I just met a man that I met here previously, who's a server in a restaurant here in Mazatlan, and God, what a great guy he is. And we exchanged numbers, and he said, message me anytime if you need anything. So, everyone's been so nice to me here. It's just really, really incredible. And so, God, yeah, the relationships are really what's been the most incredible, amazing part of it all for me. I mean, hands down, without a question on that one. Can you discuss some memorable, special moments? Maybe what was your best day? What was your favorite place? There have been so many incredible special moments. This is going to kind of be repeating myself. It's mostly been the people that are special, but so many places. I'm surprised every time I go to a new place by how cool it is. Like Guadalajara, amazing city. I was kind of anxious and nervous to go there because it's one of the biggest cities in Mexico. And I thought, oh my gosh, riding my motorcycle into Guadalajara, is it going to be safe? Is it going to be secure? But man, it was a beautiful city, and it was just like everywhere else. Everyone was so friendly and nice. I talked to police. I talked to numerous people. Everyone's so nice to me. And so, it's daily surprises. Ajijic surprised me. San Sebastian, just everywhere has been a revelation. And the food has been amazing. Special moments. Gosh, my last night in Sayulita, I sat on the beach and watched the sunset and just kind of really soaked it up and thought about that being my last night. And that was really special. Yeah, but it's really the people. Even just the casual conversations with people in a restaurant or a hotel to the more deep friendships that I've made, like Hugo, Michelle, others. Those have been the most special moments, for sure. A lot of people love Mexican food. How is the food in Mexico? What have you experienced? Can you talk a little bit about your favorite meals, your favorite things that you've come across to eat? Favorite foods, everything. Gosh, I've been surprised at how amazing the coffee is here. I'm a big coffee drinker and I love like a French roast, but like the coffee de Veracruz is extremely good. I think coffee comes from Chiapas here, so the coffee has been a revelation. Michel's tequila was a revelation. I mean, I don't drink a ton, but I've had tequila before, certainly, and Michel's is like the best I've ever had, so that was incredible. The fresh seafood has been incredible, like tacos de birria, which is tacos from goat's meat. That was incredible. Roland's fresh caramel cajeta in San Sebastián del Oeste, incredible. Just eating on a daily basis, I'm budget traveling, so for me, mostly happy eating tacos like every day. So I love going to these different street puestos and experiencing different tacos on a daily basis. And they're all slightly different. And it's kind of like this quest to see who has the best tacos and so I do love food, and I love all of the surprises on a daily basis. And Mexico has I love all the different salsas. Every restaurant you go to has a different house salsa. And gosh, that's incredible. So yeah, just amazing food here, amazing culture. You've talked a little bit about the friendships you've made and the people you've encountered. How do you think on a daily basis you're perceived by the Mexicans that you encounter and meet, casually on a daily basis? I perceive that Mexicans perceive Americans, or me as an American, a little bit standoffish at first, but if you're able to slow down, speak the language a little bit, ask them their name, ask them how they're doing, all of a sudden their faces light up and they're really appreciative of the fact that you're interested in them and you can speak the language a little bit. So, I don't think it's any secret that Americans kind of generally have the reputation for being a little abrupt, standoffish, maybe a little bit entitled, kind of expecting that everyone in the world speaks a little bit of English, and that's just not the case. I mean, here in Mexico, some people speak English, many don't, so you're only going to enhance your experience greatly, exponentially, if you can speak some Spanish and communicate with the people here. And they will like you a whole lot more and respond a lot more kindly and graciously to you if you can speak their language a little bit. So, I think so, yeah, they perceive you, Americans, as being a little bit abrupt, fast-paced, standoffish. But if you can dispel that myth or rumor or act differently, then they're very warm and welcoming and receptive. Do you have any advice for travelers going to Mexico, or just travel in general? What have you learned about travel in Mexico, and any advice to share with the people watching? Advice, yeah. First of all, just travel, do it. Like, especially kind of backpacking or moving around. It's one thing to, go on a week's vacation and check into a hotel or a resort, and that's great too, and no knocking that, but it's a little bit different to move around and, have to go to different places and then, learn how to navigate highways and streets and talk to all kinds of different people, check into different hotels, find cash machines, all those sort of things. Really teach you a lot about yourself, teach you about the country, or so much of a deeper experience, richer experience. So travel, don't be scared. Do your research, find out about safety and security. Try to learn some Spanish if we're talking Mexico or Latin America, because it's only going to enrich your experience. But yeah, it's really, I think travel is incredible. It's exciting, exhilarating, but it also forces you to really evaluate yourself and teaches you about different perspectives, different cultures. How different people attach meaning to different things and how they live their lives differently, and there's so much to be learned and gleaned from that. So travel for me really is a revelatory experience. And yeah, I was walking around today actually thinking about this, that, as an American, I'm obviously very different than a Mexican living here. And so when you meet someone, maybe, as I said, they're initially a little standoffish, but I think kind of in the moment you both realize that, okay, wow, we're very different people, but yet we're both human beings, and we both have interests in one another, or foreigners, or different cultures. And so, I guess I'm saying there's more in common really with people than there is are things that separate people, or that there are differences. So that's been my experience, is that we all have more in common than we do separating us. So go travel, learn about the place you're going, do some research, try to learn the language a little bit, and then when you're there, jump into it, dive into it, try to speak it as much as you can, and it's only going to enhance your experience, and it's going to be well received. So thanks for having me on the show. Thanks for listening and watching. Major changes to come. Excited about it, optimistic about it, feel like I'm getting back to my center, to what I want to achieve, where I want to go, what do I want to do. So probably returning tomorrow to La Ciudad and getting a cabin in the mountains again, heading to Parral where I can kind of decompress. I have some friends there, reassess, think some more. So thank you for watching. Thank you for following. Thank you for listening to this video. Thank you for your support and comments. Really means a lot to me. I love making my videos. I love traveling. I love sharing all these beautiful and beautiful places in Mexico and amazing people that I'm meeting. So I hope you'll continue to watch and follow. There could be changes coming, but I think they're only going to be better. Well, for me and for you, the viewer, I think it's only going to make my channel and my experience better. So I want to do it for myself, but also for the content that I'm putting out there, and hopefully make it as great as I can possibly make it. I mean, that's how I approach this, is trying to do the best possible work I can on every video and every picture and things like that. So I'm excited for new opportunities in the future. So thanks for watching. Adios from Mazatlan. See you in the next one. Gracias. Thank you.